Good morning, everybody. Mark, what do we got today, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Just watching this oil over here. Some big. See what we got going on here. Yeah, look at this, man. This thing. Thought we were gonna get a rebound, and just keeps breaking down.
Yeah, they're all bleeding down. Well, gas is cheap right now, which I don't get, and I don't know. I don't even understand the dynamics of it because we still have to fill the strategic petroleum reserve, and I guess now would be the time to do it.
Well, I think too, it's basic supply and demand. People just don't drive as much,
True.
or they people carpool or whatever. But wow. So I thought this was going to be a reversal here, but this shows you why we wait for a reversal to actually occur before we jump in, because we don't want to get run over like we would have here had we just tried to catch the bottom. So we could still wait for this thing to reverse. It's kind of surprising though that it's so weak, but it's like we said, maybe it is the Middle East countries selling oil so they could support this war or whatever war they have in mind next.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'd be watching there for some kind of reversal. This is
74.
I'm gonna go with 74.10 just to get real precise. But yeah, look at that. I mean, it kind of just blew right through it.
Yeah, well, Dominion or not Dominion, but Chevron and Exxon Chevron's just been beat down.
Look at that. They got there and it was literally there for like 2 hours and then it broke down through.
Mm-hmm.
Now this, I think, tells us something. I'm just not smart enough to know what it tells us, but it was just like, the economics. I mean, this could be economic slowdown type stuff here. I mean, yeah, maybe that's what it is. Economic slowdown finally is hitting us. Anyway, there's still going to be opportunities, and this is why we wait for the reversal to start. If we just tried to catch the bottom, we would have gotten run over. But we talked about waiting for the reversal. The reversal never happened. So now we're just still watching it. Maybe if it gets down to around 74, then that's where you watch for the reversal there.
Mark, can I ask you a question real quick? On these economic numbers that they keep putting out. So like I heard that they missed like 130,000 on this last jobs number. So if we're revising it every time on these job numbers, aren't the jobs a lot worse than what they're actually portraying?
Well, it does seem like all the revisions have been down.
Right, that's what I mean. So if we're subtracting from that number every month, but it keeps going up and it beats every month, it doesn't something's not correlating.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it could be there's job growth because people are taking second jobs. So the headline numbers are really not as good as they seem.
Right.
But there was a period, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, where if I went around my town here in Stanford, I mean, every freaking store had a help wanted sign on the front. And
Yeah.
I'm just thinking I saw one at the pet store. But that's about it. So, I don't really know. I think a lot of these government numbers there's anomalies in the way that they're calculated.
But if they'll lie to us on, about small things, why wouldn't they lie to us about the economy and keep telling us it's good? Because the only thing really going up is the stock market. The rest of everything else we do is going down. Housing is too expensive. You can't afford a car. You can't afford anything really. So, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, the whole, narrative was like the consumer is strong, but now with record credit card debt and all these defaults and so forth, the consumer is going to be slowing down. I mean, I know I've personally, I mean, not that I'm like starving over here, but it's sometimes you change your habits without even thinking about it. Like when my wife was away not too long ago, Kate Clifford and I got this tradition where, we'll go over to Five Guys and we'll get a burger. We'll each get a burger. And, so I went in there and it's like freaking $11 a burger. So it's like, geez, this is going to be $25. And I just went into the grocery store and I'm like, you know what? I'll just buy a 6-pack of burgers and I'll just go home and throw them on the grill, So
you can buy a whole roll of Fresh Pet for that, Mark.
Yeah. So, so you just like kind of, so I guess some businesses benefit and some don't, but eventually it's, I mean, people are very pessimistic. Um, this right here, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what is this economic slowdown? I mean, this is a pretty darn big move for oil to drop, considering the tensions that are going on in the Middle East, for oil to drop, 20% in not even 2 months. I mean, that's a big move. This is like telling us something. And now look at this here. This is like aggressive. This is like aggressive selling here. This isn't just people saying like, well, I'll go work my oil order. This is people telling their brokers like, dude, get
Get me out.
get me out. I don't want to be in this anymore. I mean, that's aggressive. And then to have another gap down this morning. Let's look at some of these other commodities. Copper sometimes can give you some insight. And it's not really, it's kind of not been doing much. Still is trending lower. All right.
Right on the trend line, though. That was nice.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how that happens?
Yeah.
And we haven't looked at this in a few days. And even the guys that write about, the original technical, well, I don't want to say original, but I guess the modern fathers, I guess you could call them, even they write in their books like it amazes them how these trend lines could just end up being like so perfect. And and this is something that, I drew this trend line in like a month ago. So it's not like I just drew it in now and I'm kind of like, backfilling it in. But it's just one of these bizarre things about technical analysis. And now we know too that by looking at our ISM number, I mean, things are really kind of slowing down pretty good in our manufacturing sector. I mean, the manufacturing is in recession. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Of course, there's three parts to our economy. There's manufacturing, there's services, and there's also, they've added hospitals, which I guess is just a reflection on our aging population.
Obamacare's made it 1/6 of our economy, so it has to be considered, I'm sure now.
Yeah, it's really a disaster because guys like me, I mean, we're lucky because my wife works and we get our health insurance through
That's
her.
how I get mine.
But Obamacare made health insurance so expensive that companies just hire people as independent contractors now. They don't want to hire you as a full-time employee. Just look at like Indeed or any job site. Everything is, independent contractor, independent contractor, independent contractor. And that's a direct result of the healthcare just got too expensive. But look at this new orders, man. 45 manufacturing down to, remember, anything below 50 shows contraction. Employment is really contracting, and these are big month to month changes here. Minus 4.4. What's up? Supplier deliveries. Prices are up a little bit, I guess. But yeah, I mean, new orders and manufacturing. So this part of the economy, manufacturing, is pretty darn weak. And as a matter of fact, we can actually get a chart of that. I think I got it right then. Let's see here. Yeah. All right, so here's the PMI index. Okay. All right, so yeah, so this is the purchasing managers index. So anything below 50 shows contraction. So we're going to put 50. 50 is right there. So now this is the housing crisis here. This is the blow up of the internet bubble. This is COVID. So, I mean,
And that's Joe Biden.
We're certainly trending lower here. And, I mean, we're not really that far from like, economic chaos. What is this back here?
Got to be Jimmy Carter. No, that's 91.
I remember there was the recession, but I don't really remember that. But anyway, the point is that could be why oil is kind of just falling off a cliff here. Let's see what natural gas is doing. Let's see here. All right, so natural gas, yeah. So this is in a free fall as well. I think that you would be good buying the cold right here, KOLD.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, to me, this looks like it's got some more downside. At least, another 10, 20 cents, maybe down to like around here. Yeah, you see, this is what happens. These things jump up, and there's like no news that we were able to find. And when sellers start to come in, it's just like, oh, hey, we ripped up, we gap through these levels, so you're not going to have people who sold who are remorseful, who are trying to buy their natural gas back. So this is a perfect example of a gap that's refilling, and could have some ways to go here. I mean, not a huge amount, but it's certainly enough to trade. So you could be looking at the KOLD here, which is this inverse ETF.
That's what it was. It was the Gulf War mark in 91.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We've had so many wars that you don't even remember Desert Storm anymore.
Yeah, it's true, man.
Just been constant since the day it started. It's disgusting.
It's true. It's true, and it's like, gosh. Well, I don't know. Go for, yeah. So, well, I mean, it is what it is, dude. Now you got this like money going right into Joe Biden's bank account. So, I mean, not that I'm surprised, but I think a lot of people are finally starting to finally wake up.
Yeah, I'm glad too. It's been a long time coming. They're finally starting to get a little bit more of a sealed case on him, and once they get these people all lined up to testify, it should get rather interesting. And then Bob Alinsky said, "Look, let's all testify in the same room together at the same time," and that's probably the biggest sell.
That's never going to happen.
They can bring them all up in front of Congress at the same time.
Nah, you think Joe Biden's going to go in front of Congress?
They may not call Joe Biden up, but they can bring every one of those other people that was in the room.
Well, anyway, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. You just can't have a guy who's this crooked in office. It's just disgusting. It's just really. It's like he could have just retired and gone off into the sunset, and we wouldn't have even been talking about him. But it's like, hey, it's my turn. I've been there for 50 years. I don't care that all this stuff is going to come out or could come out and rupture the country. It's my turn. I don't care. So that's why he's such a despicable man. He could have just stepped aside, but it's just there just for power's sake. But anyway, we've been talking about this 437 level, and look where we stalled out, right? 437. Well, so we're pretty much right there. So again, we're overbought. We're at resistance. I think this goes back to the most important thing to watch is the financials.
And we're right there still.
Yeah. Sometimes things are just self-evident. Sometimes you don't need deep-seated analysis to prove something. I mean, think about this. So Hunter Biden gets kicked out of the Navy because he returns his rented car and he forgets to grab his crack pipe. And yet somehow he ends up on the board of directors of a Ukrainian gas and oil company where he's getting paid more than he would get paid if he was on the board of directors of ExxonMobil. You don't need to be, Dick Tracy to be like, oh, gee, maybe there's something there. It's not like he got a job at some, law firm in Washington, D.C. who's someone, one of the president's buddies or vice president's buddies said, hey, listen, man, my son needs a job. Can you hook him up and we'll throw some business your way? It's like he ended up in Ukraine. It's like the other side of the world. It's just like it's self-evident. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to put two and two together there.
Well, I would think the moment that we cut the funding off to Ukraine, there is peace. So we do still have that play in CEE.
It's just sad. It's sad. It's a sad thing for America that we've come to this where it's just like we just accept like, all right, well, hey, the guys are crooked. All politicians are crooks.
Mark, it's because we don't punish people anymore. They started turning a blind eye back in the 90s, and they've just let people get away with it. Don't you remember who was that guy from the guy from North Carolina, not John Roberts. What was his name? Real young, sharp guy.
The guy who was running for
president. Yeah. And he was having an affair with his secretary. They found out about it, nixed his whole life. That boy ain't never been seen again. After that, and Sweet Willie got away with what he got away with, the gloves have come off him. It's just been, nobody's been held accountable for anything. And
politicians have been having affairs with women since there's been politics.
Well, but that's not the problem. The problem is that it's the bureaucracy. It's the people that are in the shadow that you don't see that are working for the federal government, that the politicians change every 4 years. They don't have to do what that politician says. They do just enough to keep that person happy until that person gets replaced, and then they go back to doing whatever they were doing before. Those employees should be the same as the federal government elected officials. They shouldn't be there for 40, 50, 60 years. I think that has to stop.
Well, I'm not thinking that deep. I just think it's going to be a great day when this guy resigns from office.
Well, it might be, but we have to really look at what's wrong with our country and how to get it back on the right path. And part of it is we have, like Trump said, a deep state, and it's not hard to see when you have a city politician and a city district attorney and a state judge just making a mockery out of the former president over things that they do not understand. I mean, you could take every single one of us to jail over property valuation. Every single one of us.
Yeah.
And you know what? When the property is valued at a higher rate, if he got the loan and he paid the loan back, when the property is valued at a higher rate, the government makes more money off the tax. So where's the halt? Where's the problem?
Yeah. Well, they don't understand how business works. I mean,
it's disgusting.
They don't understand.
That lady's pushing for a job in Washington next time around. She thinks that Joe's going to win again, and she's got herself a good spot because she came right out and said, I'm getting Trump. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And we don't live in that country. That's the problem.
Well, she'll crash and burn just like
yeah, we've been saying that.
All these other ones.
Saying that with Cheney, saying that with Bush, saying that with all the things that have happened all these every years. Look, man, I'm a soldier, and I believe in America, and I believe in what we're supposed to stand
for. Well, you know what? Let's not forget the big Democrat hero, Lynn Cheney. They all love her. Oh, she's an honest Republican. She hates Trump because Trump stated the truth.
Yes.
In my opinion, that Dick Cheney is a friggin' war criminal.
Yes.
Right? Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that Trump said Bush should have been impeached over Iraq. Yes. Everyone seems to forget that.
Listen. You could see the trucks taking those weapons of mass destruction out of Iraq into Syria where they were being stockpiled. Nobody ever did anything about it because the Democrats were in charge of Congress and the Senate at that time. And I'm just tired of having a warmongering country. It just doesn't have a reason for us to be this way. Why can't we focus on ourselves for a while?
Yeah, but it's nothing new, dude. You act like it's new. I mean, the Spanish-American War was the same thing.
I know.
Like, let's come up with an excuse to start a war because it fits our strategic interests. It's the same thing as with Iraq.
Well, then you can't walk around and say you're the shining city on the hill if you're just a scum like everybody else.
Yeah, well,
and you can't grow people up to say, hey, you know what? This is an exceptional country, and we're going to do things different. We're going to be a Christian-based country that loves America, that loves people and freedom, and then turn around and do the things that we're doing. It's just not right.
Well, yeah. I agree. It's biggest hypocrites
and
are.
Until people are held accountable, we're not ever going to get this fixed. It may have already gone too far. You know what the one good thing is that they gave Mayor Pete $1 yesterday. Did you see that? The House took his salary for doing such a great job.
He's an idiot. He really is.
I'm done. So let's go.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, no, I mean it is frustrating, to people that pay attention. That's why, you almost want to just put your head in the sand and just like hope it all goes away. But whatever, dude. We're only 1 in 330 million people, and in 50 years from now, if we still have a country, no one's really going to care about our position. But I don't think we're going to have a country. But anyway. So this is still, once again, we got to we got to just watch this financial thing here. We gapped up, we got to resistance. Now we're reversing. No rebound this morning. We're right at this important level that goes back to December of 22. So once again, I mean, I think as this goes, I think the market follows, right? So we got that S&P is pinned right against that resistance. But if this starts to go lower, I think that's going to pull that lower. And what's important to watch in here is this the industrial sector. Oh no, I'm sorry. Why did I say industrial sector?
No idea.
I meant the banking industry. I mean, banking industry and industrial sector have nothing to do with each other. But anyway, so notice this. We talked about this the other day for a possible reversal. So I think the most important thing going on in the market is what's going on in the financial sector. And what's going on, I think what's going on in the financial sector, the most important thing is what's going on in the banking industry. And that's what we have here. So resistance became support and support, resistance. So we got this big move higher. We got overbought. We had this reversal pattern. And not surprisingly, we're coming in. So I think this is focus on banking and focusing on the financials. Different things drive the market at different times. Different things are in the driver's seat at different times. And sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out. And sometimes it's kind of easy to figure out. Sometimes the market's simple. Sometimes it's a little confusing. But I think right now, I don't know. I would say it's not simple, but I think there's a clear thing to watch. And especially if XLV reverses and gets back below this, 127.40 level. So, another $1.50 at the same time as tech reverses and maybe gets back below here and the financials come in, then we're going to get a pretty meaningful sell-off and there's going to be a lot of opportunities to trade there. Well, look at this. So this is now this is how markets evolve. So now we're getting to, we blew that resistance, but we're still getting to another level of resistance, but the S&P hasn't really moved, which means this isn't really the sector that's in charge here, because this can make a nice move, but I really think it's all about financials. But anyway, this is getting up to another potential resistance level. And this is part of the whole thought process or strategy of staying on the sidelines and letting the market tell you what to do. You can't really come in. The worst thing a trader can have is an opinion. You know what I mean? That
Right.
could really ruin your day. Because if you have an opinion and say you tell all your trading people, hey, I think the market's going to do this or market's going to do that, that makes you susceptible to what we call confirmation bias. And what that means is that you tend to ignore things that might be contrary to what you think to what you think, right? A lot of it, believe it or not, happens in relationships. Everyone knows someone who's like dating someone who they shouldn't, or at least at some point in their life, who they shouldn't be, but they ignore the things they don't want to see, or they pretend they're not there, even though all their friends might say, hey, so-and-so really isn't good for you because of X, Y, Z. Well, you might know about X, Y, and Z, but you just tend to ignore it, or subconsciously you want to just pretend it's not there. And it's kind of the same thing with trading. It's a psychological thing. 176.50. Yeah. So 176.50. So this is this important level now that we're getting back to here. This resistance back in December of 21, and then resistance here, support here, resistance there. So this is an important level. This level ended up kind of losing its importance, right? But what's going on here is you got this like panicked buying in Apple, which I don't understand. I mean, look at how aggressive that buying is.
Wow.
But that's right at resistance. And then Microsoft, I think maybe it was Microsoft that's like really going nuts. Yeah, I mean,
What is market charging? sorry to cut you off. They're charging $30 a month for access to their AI, and people are using it in droves because Chat GPT is like $2 a chat. So Microsoft is cheaper, and people are paying them out the wazoo to use their AI.
Were you in the Benzinga class yesterday?
No, I was not.
Let me see if I can find it. We found this. I know Heather was there. There was this like really, really bizarro picture. Let me see if I can find it here.
She's saying
That we think was AI created.
Mm.
Shoot, now I forgot what I named it. So it would be a PNG, right? PNG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I can find it. It's probably on my laptop somewhere. I mean, my desktop. Let's see. It's pretty funny though. Hopefully I can find it. If not, I'll find it for tomorrow. But it's just this bizarre picture of like it said like the party's over, and Spruce Goose. Yeah, I guess I don't want to waste your time. I'll just have to find it for tomorrow.
Yeah, we got a bunch up in here. We got Jets, EQT, Lily. Lily's blasting off again, and then D-Dog.
All right. Yeah, it's too bad.
We'll find it. Did you post it in the Benzinga chat?
No, no. Because they don't want Market Watch as their main competitor. So
right.
You know, so I'm not supposed to post anything for Market Watch, but anyway. It was just a bizarre, weird AI generated picture. Which I think. Well, anyway, so here we got our Microsoft. Where would it be? Kindle recommended 1028 or I would have given it, knowing me, I would have given it some kind of a strange name. Well, an obvious name like Weird Picture or something like that. But ironically enough, now I can't find it. All right. Anyway, I'll look for it later. So, yeah. So here's Microsoft. So very overbought at resistance. And notice how it's just kind of stalling out there this morning. And then Apple too. Same kind of thing. Really stretched out.
Mark, she says you stored it under fucked up AI pick.
Did I really?
Yeah, so search that. I did, Heather.
F.
Here it is.
Where?
I don't know. I'm.
Oh, there we go. F up. Nice work. All right, so look at this picture. So I decided to save it because look how bizarre this is. So anyway, Wall Street's rally won't feel like a party much longer. And you first of all, you got a bull head here or a bison head.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like one of those noisemakers in its mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You got a deer head over here wearing a tie. I mean, this is just a really, really bizarre picture.
Yeah,
you can tell they're in like a look at like that needs to be painted.
Well, so like in these text to photo images, so you go into this like in Canva and Magic Create, you can type in what you want it to create. So like when I did the picture of the bull walking down the street carrying a briefcase full of money on Wall Street, then you got what I got, and then you got the bull that I created there, or the bear that I created there. Same thing. You just it's basically taking the information you give it, going out and finding information about that, putting it together, and then amalgamating it into that, which, you know, it's why you don't use it. You can use it, but you have to really put in specific prompts to be able to make it understand exactly what you're saying.
Well, I just think that's pretty bizarre. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's like who she's having a party. She's got like heads of animals on her couches.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's twisted.
Yeah.
You got the whatever you call that. You're not confetti, but your streamers or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. All right. Well, thanks for the lifeline there, Heather.
All right. So we're at Jets. We got EQT, Lily, and D-Dog.
Yeah, I've lost my chat. So actually, wait, have I found it back here?
Would you like me to overlay it?
Nah, you could just read. You could just read it to me if there's any questions. All right. So what's the first one, Jets?
Jets, yes.
Yeah. So, we were talking about this other day, right? Found support at a level that was support before. And now we're rallying off of it. And now it just looks like it's going to consolidate here a little bit, I guess. But, it's a pretty strong move here. To me, though, I don't know. It looks kind of, now that it's turned a little bit, because the market looks kind of iffy, I don't know if I would be so confident in jumping in on this here.
And American Airlines made that list too, Steve. So that's their biggest holding in Jets is American Airlines.
So here's something to watch now here, because this could be the catalyst for another move higher. Now I know this is kind of contradictory, but this is what happens when the market gets these like kind of important inflection points, right? So we just saw that the S&P is pinned up right against this really clear and well-defined resistance. Now, what could push it through? Well, a drop in interest rates. Now, look at where interest rates are here. We're right back to this 454 level. Got this little bit of a descending pattern right here. So this is going to be right here, right? If this support breaks and this thing makes another move lower, then that resistance will break and the market will move higher. Might take a little bit of consolidation. Now, if this rebounds here and starts to move higher, that's going to make the market come off of these resistance levels. So between watching this and watching the financial sector, you should be able to get a pretty good idea as to which way this market's going to go over the next week or two.
All right, awesome. The next one is EQT. Ooh.
Energy and minerals. Well, oil and gas production. Well, if oil continues to go lower, and it looks like at this point that it's going to, let's go take a look at oil. It seems to me like there's a good chance oil gets down to around 74, another $2.50. So if oil goes lower, then my guess is that EQT is going to go lower as well. And where is it? But you can kind of watch this level right in here. See resistance here, became support here. So we're kind of sitting right at this support. So things tend to make pretty big moves if they break support or resistance. And that's because if you break support, in other words, if we trade below this support level, what does it tell us? Well, it tells us that the investors who created the support with their buy orders have finished. Maybe they finished their orders, maybe they canceled their orders, but regardless, they're out of the way. So the key here is to watch oil. If oil starts to get lower and this starts to break, then when oil gets to that next support level, this will probably get down to about there. See, so that's 38.40. So I would guess, now I don't really follow this company that well, but it's just the nature of energy companies. So if oil ends up getting that, continuing to go lower and gets down to around 74, then EQT is probably going to break this level and get down to about 30, probably get down to around 39. If oil starts to reverse, then this would be, it's coming off of a support level. But based on the downward pressure of oil, I mean, I would think that this thing is going to kind of head lower here. The odds are it's going to head lower. But you can see real clear resistance. Resistance becomes support.
Lily's the next one.
Oh, there we go.
You're back. Good deal.
Now I see it. What a bad picture. It is a bizarre picture. I really, it just really makes you wonder, like, because unless there's like a movie out or something that like I'm missing.
She said Lily was in reference to XLV, so you don't need to watch it.
I just don't understand what that picture means. It'd be one thing if it was a bull and a bear, maybe. Then you could kind of, maybe there'd be some kind of, thing going on. All right, so here it looks like if, we got our clear support from resistance, got this gap to refill here. So if interest rates hold or come down a little bit, I think this thing could get up to 135 pretty quickly because it's got this gap here that it could refill. So one of the reasons why we get resistance is because we get these remorseful buyers, trying to sell when things get back up to their price. People buy and then the price goes underwater and they tell themselves, if this thing rebounds a little bit, I'm going to sell and get out. Well, when you have a gap, meaning you get these price levels where there's no trading through them, and we closed here and we opened here, there's no trading in here. So if there's no trading, then guess what? There can't be people who bought who are trying to sell to get out. So this is why this is the old saying, gaps refill. And, it tends to be true. And if you understand the psychology, then it's easy to understand why. There's not going to be a lot of sellers in these price ranges here. So when buyers come in, if they want to buy, they're going to have to be willing to pay premiums to get the sellers enticed. Probably won't run into a lot of supply up until we get it to around 135 here.
D-Dog. Data dog. Yeah, see, we were talking about this yesterday. I would be watching this for a reversal. Especially because there's no follow through this morning. So that's 102. Yeah, so big move, no follow through, kind of just stalled out. Eventually, there's a good chance that the sellers are going to start to say, like if the news was really that good, there would probably be some follow through this morning. The fact that there's not means that people are probably looking at the numbers and starting to think, these numbers were good, but they're not as good as people think. So stocks up, I'm going to take advantage of the strength and I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to sell some. And then what happens? They come in and we have this huge move higher. One of the reasons why we get support is because we get remorseful sellers trying to buy things back. And when you close here and open here, there's no one who sold in between. So the sellers could start to come in here. They might have a hard time finding buyers, and this thing could probably move pretty rapidly. Coming back the other way. But yeah, I'd be watching this for a reversal. Maybe if it breaks 100, then you start thinking about jumping in. Nice. You see this question from Maru?
Are any earnings worth looking at? Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that people do is as a matter of fact, I was looking at this morning. This is an old model I made about 4 or 5 years ago. This company, Gibraltar Industries, and it shows you it's a way that people that do this type of analysis, they build these really detailed models, and they really get to study the companies, and they understand all the margins. This is stuff I all put together myself. It's not like you could just go get it somewhere. And if you go through there, they got 3 sectors, or three segments is the right word, right? You go through the segments, you kind of do an analysis, you read the reports, and you start to think, Wall Street thinks these guys are going to earn 50 cents a share. I think they're wrong. I think that there was a fire in a plant in Montana that no one is factoring into their numbers, for example. So I think they're going to earn less than that. So you know what? I think they're going to miss earnings. I think the price is going to go lower. So I'm going to buy puts ahead of the earnings. So that's one way of doing it. It's kind of, if you don't follow fundamentals, though, it's trading ahead of earnings is a little tricky. So my trading, I base on technicals. And if something's going to report within the next few days, I just, kind of just take it off the radar screen.
And I believe that was it.
Yeah. All right. Oh, you know what? I just remember the guy was supposed to come fix my generator yesterday. He never showed up.
What a bum.
Yeah.
That's bad business up there. You should be able to give him a 0 on Yelp.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, it doesn't look like we have any storms.
Maru, he went through Google already.
It just needs a new spark plug, but I don't want to mess with it because it's all hooked to the electricity of the house. So I don't want to electrocute myself just for a spark plug.
You want me to talk you through it?
Yeah. So it looks like we could kind of move right back up through here.
Do you want me to talk you through it, Mark?
Nah, I'm not going to fuck with it, dude, because I don't want to mess with my electricity.
Okay.
I mean, I know how to change a spark plug.
Yeah, but it's simple. Once you kill the power to the generator coming from the house to the generator, or from the generator to the house, then there's no more power to the generator.
But then how do I make it so it runs? Like, it used to run once a week. Every Monday night, it would turn on for like 20 minutes.
Once you put the spark plug back in it, there should be a reset on it. There'll be an instruction manual with it, or you can Google that model that you have, and it'll tell you the restart sequence, and then just reset your sequence, and it should reset automatically to go back to working again.
Huh.
They're pretty intelligent now.
So should I just can I use any spark plug, or do I just?
I would take the one out, take it down to the auto parts store, and then have them gap it, make sure they put the right gap on it, and then put it back in. Try not to bend it on the way back from the auto parts store.
Well, wouldn't they just give me a new spark plug?
Yeah, but you have to gap the spark plug to make sure that it fires at the correct amperage.
Yeah. See, that's the stuff.
No, it's simple. They'll do it for you at the hardware store.
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, if the guy's going to charge me $500, that's one thing. If he's going to charge me $50, then I don't care.
Yeah, Maru, that's what he's saying about Google, is that we're in the middle of this gap right here, and gaps refill most of the time. And Google looks like it's trying to refill this gap up to 36.
Yeah, so as long as interest rates go down or stay the same, I think that this continues to move ahead here. And my target would be up around like 135.
See, even Stevie's telling you from Vietnam to gap the plug.
Gap the plug. All right. Well, I mean, that all sounds fine and dandy, but we get a big blizzard and the power goes down and my generator doesn't kick on. It's like I'm gonna have to hear it from who. So,
guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Go make a bunch of money in the market and join us tomorrow. Get here a little early so you can see our new intro. I was going to show it to you, but you're gonna have to wait. Have a great day, guys.
All right, everyone. See you tomorrow.